Hello everybody and welcome to NBL Overtime, and as they say, better late than never. Just a little bit behind time, but doesn't mean we haven't got a lot of hoops to get into after a big weekend. The Kings had the top. I've said this before, they didn't want it. United had the top and they didn't want it, and the Perth Wildcats somehow allowed Corey Homicide-Williams out of Western Australia with Adelaide slipping on a jersey. Big, huge round. It all starts tomorrow night. It stretches nearly a week as I welcome Corey Homicide-Williams. You're an adult, man. What are you wearing a jersey for?
Let me tell you why I'm wearing this jersey. Because I am not even a Knicks fan, but I'm a Knicks fan now.
What?
Because
Why?
the Knicks are tanking.
Oh, hang on a second. Hang on.
Oh.
You text me today. You said, ask me a yes or no question.
Right. Okay, so.
Okay, cool. All right, we'll get to that later then.
Right,
welcome,
cool,
Liam Sandberg. Welcome to you.
I think you're in a New York state of mind.
I'm ready.
Fair to say.
Look, I'm telling y'all now.
Oh, here we go.
A lot of you guys may not like me, but after this show, the whole league might not like me. It's a lot to discuss.
Do any players look at your Instagram, do you think?
They all do. I see you all of my stories watching. When y'all lose games to see what I'm going to say. I'm not going to say it there. I'm going to say it right here.
Hashtag NBL19 to get involved. Hashtag NBL Overtime. We'll get into our poll very shortly, which is probably going to annoy some of the West Australian fans and Perth Wildcats supporters that we do watch the show. But they'll be in a better mood after they got a win over the weekend. But it was a huge weekend. The Kings couldn't quite get it done. Neither could Melbourne United. Adelaide is starting to come with the run, and the Brisbane Bullets were outstanding. Lamar Patterson's leading that team, and they're going to be tough to beat in the last couple of weeks.
They are. They are really, really legit. I mean, I wrote today that they are they're getting close to becoming title favourites. How well they are playing and rolling into the finals. It's a conversation we need to have in about a week's time. But weren't the Adelaide 36ers good in all across the weekend? But they started it off in Perth, and this was an awesome win from Illawarra. That shot from Blanchfield with a minute to go, the sealer, he was huge.
I had him in the All-NBL second team a couple of weeks ago. I'm not sure he's right there now, but that's a big win in New Zealand's season. In the end, and of course, a loss last night in the end, saw it done. But Blanchfield, he can stroke it.
Yeah, definitely. You know, he's been a shooter his whole career. But what's been more impressive is this dunk on Andrew Bogut's head. And one. Let's go, Wiley.
He was great.
And he was. Back to the bench last week. Didn't do a great deal, and then got a chance again this week. Obviously, Ramon Moore out injured, and they were outstanding, and you touched on it. Do you have Brisbane as favourites right now?
Whew, I want to talk about it this time next week. After they play Sydney, there's the miss from Casper where he got right to the bucket.
Isn't it amazing, and we're going to talk about title favourites in a moment, isn't it amazing that one tiny little layup has changed the whole perception of how the NBL ladder looks right now and who we perceive to be favourites?
Well, it's over the course of the whole season, right? One tiny little charge call, the same guy, the same arena earlier in the year, and that was a good win there from Cairns as well, holding on in overtime, getting their first OT win of the season.
Got to say that we're probably not going to talk a great deal about Cairns tonight, but they've been really great the last 3 weeks after losing 14 straight. But we're going to start.
They didn't turn up in Brisbane, did they?
That's a good point. Maybe they were tanking to get themselves ready for Monday night. Let's start with who is it. You like that one? Let's start with who is a title favourite, because Sydney have had top every time they've had top and have an opportunity to give themselves a bit of breathing room. They've ultimately lost what turns out to be home games. And Melbourne went to the top, and they Casper Ware missed layup late, cost him the win in Perth. Who right now, I'm going to start with you, is the title favourite?
Look, before this season began, I was in New York minding my business, and I saw the acquisition of Andrew Bogut to the Kings. I wrote, give the Kings to the ring. Give the rings to the Kings. I'm going to say right now, that hasn't changed for me, but they are not. It's not going to be easy. They are not title contenders today.
Well, they're title contenders. They might not be title favourites.
They're not the favorites. They're contenders, but they're not the favorites for me today, and I'm going to tell you why.
Tell us.
Okay, remember early around Christmas, I'm going to say, when they lost to Melbourne United, right? They bounced back. They beat Brisbane, okay?
Yeah.
A big win. Bogut had a huge game. The next 5 games that they had were must-win. That was the easiest part of their schedule, my opinion. They had Cairns, they won. Illawarra, they should have beaten. They lost. New Zealand, they barely won, okay? Bowen got them out of that and got that W, okay? Illawarra at home, that's a must-win. They lose. Adelaide ran them out the damn park, okay? In that stretch, they were 2-3. The harder part of their schedule are these next 5 games. So to give them a legitimate chance to have some room, some space to legitimize and hold that first place position, they lost that. Guess who the next 5 is?
Hit.
Brisbane United, Perth, Cairns. Out of those 5, they might win 2. They may win only 2 games. That's how tough that schedule is. The most consistent team right now is Brisbane.
They've got, 3 games against Brisbane coming up. I think it's Brisbane, Perth, Brisbane, then United. Seriously tough schedule. And I think if we're gonna talk about Sydney for a minute, because I'm pretty much on the same boat, because I'm gonna hang with them for now, but I really want to watch this Sydney-Brisbane matchup over the next few weeks. They've fallen right away. I think they're tired. I think the schedule.
You think?
The schedule has been a real problem for them. They had, you talked about Perth's easy schedule early in the season, and then this whole going on the road, all the doubles. Sydney have played since round 8, so pretty much all of December and most of January so far. They've played on average a game every 3 to 4 days. And coming into the season, we had some concerns about their profile, their age profile, right? Their 5 main guys, if you include Kickett over Ware, are all over 30. We know Bogut hasn't been able to hang tough over the course of a rugged NBA schedule over a period of time. And they've fallen away. And they've fallen away in the effort areas and at the defensive end.
Sydney and Melbourne both have had effort issues to start games in recent times. The Perth Wildcats, ironically, are third, and they had their best win in probably 3 months over the weekend. There's one thing that makes the Sydney Kings still title favourites, and I raised this 2 months ago. The FIBA break helps them. They've played their best basketball coming out of the FIBA break, and a lot of that was around Andrew Bogut, who had a sore back going into it. 2 weeks off, they were able to get rest for their crucial guys, and you mentioned some of the older guys there. When's the next FIBA break?
Right before the finals.
Right before the playoffs.
It's a great call.
And if they get now, the big thing will be if they slip to third, and we'll get to that a little bit later on in yes or no, but if they slip to third and they've got to go on the road, it makes it a little bit tougher. But they get 2 weeks off, and I think that helps them more than any other club in the league right now. And I think if they're 1 or 2, I think they still deserve the title.
They're not finishing first place.
You don't think so?
They are not finishing first place.
So
I'm telling you right now, they're not finishing first. The way this top 5 is, it's a flip a coin.
No, seriously.
It's crazy.
And the team, I think...
Brisbane might finish first.
I agree.
Brisbane might be in first
They might finish first.
This week. They might be in first place after this week. And I wrote about them today. I love Brisbane right now.
The consistency and the balance of that team.
The 2 best teams with confidence and momentum and form, of course, the Brisbane Bullets, Lamar Patterson playing exceptionally well. And we're going to look at some Adelaide 36ers highlights right now. They did what they did last week. They obviously went on the road and dealt with Sydney from the start. And that third quarter was outstanding. And, of course, the win a couple of days earlier against Perth. So they're playing 2 teams in the top 4 entrenched, and they were outstanding. Look at Conga, whose last couple of weeks have been more of the player we saw last year for the Hawks.
Yeah, he's been killing it. And this weekend, beating Perth, then going into Kudos Bank Arena and beating Sydney, running him off out of the gym, like you said, Corey. That came right off the back of the Ramon Moore injury.
You know,
Doyle, McVeigh, Froling, all these guys stepping up. Really impressive.
Shout out to Jack McVeigh. The energy god. That's his new name because he comes with all that energy. Sometimes when a player gets injured, the team either lays down or steps up. And Adelaide, these guys have gotten opportunities coming off that bench, and that's exactly what they did. Step up. And get your body.
One thing you can't do against Adelaide, and this is the issue with Melbourne and Sydney in the last couple of weeks, and Perth, you can't give them starts. You can't allow them a full head of steam in the first quarter because they run. They run. And if you give them, and this is what happened on the weekend, and in the third quarter, confidence built, they got running, they believe in themselves. Joey Wright would do a great job of saying, everyone hates us, it's us against the world. Yeah. And they just do a wonderful job. And if you have low energy, it comes back to haunt you.
They will expose
you can't be complacent.
They'll expose your weaknesses. If your defense isn't A+, they will expose you. If your defensive rebounding is no good, and their defensive rebounding, Sydney, was historically bad, and it's been really poor over the course of the whole season. Apart from Bogut, Andrew Gaze used the word inept about the rest of his squad's defensive rebounding.
What does that even mean?
It's horrible. It means horrible. An inability to get the job done.
It means cannot get the job done. They will expose you. And there was a lot of Nathan Sobey in that for those highlights, he was so good over the
And I
course
said
of
this
the
at the start of the year as well. He's the Russell Westbrook. It doesn't all like, and he's a better shooter than Russell Westbrook, ironically, right now. But he's the guy. He takes the ball by the horns. He'll run. Occasionally takes shots that you might raise an eyebrow at. But when he's hitting them, which he has for a lot of this year, he's giving you a triple-double chance every week. Yeah. If you want to actually if you look in a dictionary, the word inept has a logo of the New York Knicks, ironically, since 1994.
I got a question, gentlemen.
Hit it. Well, actually, who's the favourite? We haven't got there. Who's the favourite?
It damn sure ain't Melbourne United either.
Who is it?
Let's move on.
You got to give an answer.
Melbourne United right now,
I'm saying Sydney.
they are not good enough to go back-to-back, and that's a fact.
Well, who's the favourite?
I got to go with Brisbane right now. Today.
Wow.
Today, I got to go. Today.
Gun to my head.
Yeah.
Got to get it right to save my life.
Got it.
I'm going with the Kings.
Yeah, I'm going with the Kings as well right now. You can get involved. Hashtag NBL19,
Look,
hashtag NBL Overtime.
I got one more thing to say about Sydney. Okay. This is a question. Versus New Zealand, 9-9. Versus Illawarra, 10-10. Versus Adelaide, 6-2. Mm-hmm. Productivity has gone down over the last 3 games. Is Andrew Bogut tired?
Let me put some numbers.
I'm listening.
Corey, because this is how far their defense has fallen over the last 3 games. So at the start of round 13, they were giving up 80 points per game on the course of the season. The last 3 games, 102.
You know what I call that?
The whole team is tired?
I call that the Liam Santa Maria curse, because when he highlighted how great the defense was on the Kings, they haven't played it since.
They haven't.
They haven't played it.
But they were so good defensively over the course. They were really outstanding. Andre Lamana sat there in the press conference and said they're by far the best defensive team in the league. He was talking about defensive effective field goal percentage, leaking points in the paint, the rebounding differential. They were -1 differential on the course of the season. They're now, over the last 3 games, -22, getting smashed on the glass. And I think they're all getting tired, and specifically Bogut, and I'm worried about his back. I'm a little worried about his back.
I think that when you say those stats, thanks for that. That just shows me they rely too much on him defensively. Because maybe he was just covering up the weak defenders that they actually are.
Who's their best on-ball defender? Lish.
Kevin Lish.
Still?
Yeah. You're just not going to get a bucket on Lish.
I think he is, but he's not the Kevin Lish from 5 or 6 years ago.
But you're still not just going to get a bucket on Lish.
No,
Lish locks up.
I don't necessarily 100% think it's anyone else. But
he's had
I also
some games where he's been in full lockdown mode.
Who did he lock down against
Cam Glidden a few weeks ago.
See, he was good there. Hey, hashtag NBL19 to get involved. At NBL on Twitter. The question is, will the Perth Wildcats make the finals? And it's an interesting question because they had a win over the Melbourne United on the weekend, but they've got a hard stretch coming up. They've got a huge weekend ahead of us. 61% saying right now, yes, they will make the 4.
60% of that is Red Army, so of course they're going to... The polls are wrong.
What do you mean the polls are wrong?
It's Red Army saying it. It's not like anybody else outside of WA.
There are other people on Twitter outside of Perth Wildcats fans.
I'm telling you right now. Believe me, 60% of that poll is Red Army.
Well, you were courtside, flanked by security guards on Sunday afternoon.
It's crazy, right?
To which they won. It is crazy.
It's crazy.
It's crazy that you would go on Instagram and invite the Perth Wildcats fans to come down and see you at a beach.
But that's a couple of them came, too. Shout out to the 4 who showed up. 4 people showed up. You know, I actually was going to the beach. What I do want to say, what I will say is, Perth is a beautiful city. Oh, my God. I was at the... What beach was I at first?
You were at Cottesloe and Scarborough.
Scarborough. Oh, my God. Beautiful. Cottesloe. Beautiful. I really enjoyed my time in Perth. Ate well. Shout out to WA in Perth. I really love the city.
And, of course, you can see Corey Homicide Williams on postcards on Channel 9 starting next week. Well, you watched them up close. Will they make the finals?
Of course not. They got lucky at the end.
So they won't make the finals?
They got lucky. I'll tell you this right now. Melbourne United did a horrible job on the boards. Nick K kicked their asses on the old boards. They had about 15 old boards in that game as a team. So the little things. You box out, you get the rebound. They don't get second and third chance opportunities.
But they won.
It's simple things.
But they won.
That's what we're Mr. Layup.
But they still
He is
won.
clutch. Okay? 99.9% out of 100.
Yeah, well, I know what
He's
the
hitting
percentage means. Okay, well, so they'll miss the finals?
100%. That don't change.
Well, let's talk about that shot for one.
How did he get to the basket?
He got right to the rim.
How?
He went straight past Damian Martin. Nick Kay couldn't stay in front of him. What I liked was, remember a few weeks ago against Adelaide, and he took that contested 3, and this time he went right to the rim and got the rim. He still missed him, and he's been super clutch, but That's 2 games in a row they've put the ball in his hands. I thought you'd still do it.
I know Remarkable. Actually, for a split second, thought he was going to try and dunk it.
he might have got
For a
higher
split second, I thought
expected.
he's going to try and dunk this.
Yeah.
But in the end, it
I
rolls
don't
out.
think they're going to make it.
You don't think they'll make it either?
No, I don't. Because
Finals?
I don't think they're going to make the finals.
Who?
Now. Perth.
Oh, I thought you meant United.
No. Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane, they're all going to make the finals.
Are you sure?
I'm
100%.
pretty confident. No, not 100%. I'm pretty confident.
Sydney, Perth, Brisbane, in.
A person
I mean,
now.
Sydney, Brisbane,
Sydney, Brisbane, Melbourne,
in.
And then we just watched Adelaide on the weekend, right? And what they did to Perth, what they did to Sydney, are they going to miss? They play Perth 2 more times.
They're going to beat Perth. They're going to beat, I'm going to say this, they're going to beat Perth.
Say it.
They're going to split it. At least one of the 2.
Right.
They're going to split. All right?
Which means they're still behind Perth.
They're both in Perth.
They're both in Perth.
Nah, they're going to run Perth out there. Forget it. They're going to run Perth
Are they
out
going to beat them
there.
twice now?
Yep.
It's
All right.
Ain't nobody keeping up with that type of speed, man. Not this unconfident team.
Okay, so on the Perth Wildcats at NBL, 61%. Apparently, it's the entire Red Army voting that they will make the finals. But the interesting thing was
33 years in a row.
Yeah.
Why you want? Because of history?
It's
You want
such
it?
a good record.
They're not good enough to make it. That team is not good enough to make the top 4 this season.
Yeah.
They were 10
We're
and
not
1.
going to bank it because they did it 33 years or 32. This is history. This is sport.
Are you
What are
wearing
you
it?
doing today?
What's that bet you made with Redditch around wearing a
Who?
jersey? What's that? You.
Oh.
Who? You.
All right, so basically, it wasn't even with Redditch. It was some of the Red Army people, man. One of the leaders, Simon Devlin, right?
Okay.
So, you know, we're in a group. These people throw me in all the Red Army group chats. Like, that's why I'm always on my phone. But the bet is...
Just quickly, so what, you're giving your number to the Red Army?
Nah, they put me in
fans?
group chats like on Facebook.
Okay.
I got a personal one on my phone with the number,
Okay.
but
Either way, so what has to happen for you to wear a Wildcats jersey?
they make finals.
Okay,
and I got to
cool.
wear it the first round.
The city
Series.
jersey. Okay,
no,
cool.
Redditch is jersey.
Oh, Redditch's old jersey.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Do you know what number he wore?
42. I
you
played
do know.
against him.
Okay, cool.
Look, you know what I'm going to say? Last thing about Perth. Sean Redditch has won 5 championships with that team. He's played over 300 games, and he was a flat-out gun. Played Boomers,
New Zealand Breakers didn't think so.
flat-out gun. And that's what's amazing about his story.
Yeah.
He got cut. He had to play C-ball.
Yeah.
Bust his ass to get up and won 5 chips. Before, I'm going to say maybe 1 or 2 more years later, you better hang his jersey in the Raptors. That is well-deserved for his jersey to be in the Raptors. Shout out to Sean Redditch. Yeah, moving on.
It's a good call.
Either way, get involved at NBL. Will the Wildcats make the finals? Now, the big thing will be Bryce Cotton, who played exceptionally well, was outstanding, in particular in the first half against Melbourne, and set up what turned out to be a match-winning lead. He didn't exactly do that on Thursday night. 10 points against the Adelaide 36ers, and as Liam Santa Maria hits at a plasma, Liam, it wasn't exactly just the fact he only scored the 10, which is rare. The fact he only had 10 field goal attempts suggests how great of a job the 36ers did of being able to contain him.
Well, this is what Joey Wright does, right? His game plans are sensational, and he'll find your weaknesses. And as we've talked about all season long, their weakness is how much they rely on Bryce Cotton. And his mantra going into that game was clearly, let's make someone else beat us. So if we pause it here, obviously we could show 10 minutes of clips of Nathan Sobey locking and trailing and denying him off the ball. He's an excellent defender and he loves this matchup, but they were all locked in to the game plan here of denying Bryce Cotton. So here, watch Sobey roll the tape. You'll see Sobey communicate with Conga, switch, he's all over it, deny, deny, deny. And the idea is make someone else beat us. Go to something else, keep it away from Cotton. So you see, they're happy with that, the Wildcats, but no bucket. Same thing here, these are other guys. This is Tease and McVeigh, but they're all locked into the game plan. Deny, deny. They have to look at them, they're a mess. If they can't get it to Bryce, a turnover, Adelaide are ramming it down your throat, it's going the other way. All right, pause here. This is the other thing that they did really well. We know Adelaide like to switch a lot on the pick and rolls, not with Cotton. Hard double, get it out of his hands, make someone else beat us. So you see, roll the tape here. This is Doyle guarding Cotton on the other side. Froling recognize, oh, it's Cotton. Hard double, get it out of his hands. We'll live with that. We'll live with Mitch Norton shooting threes. Same thing here, Sobey with Daniel Johnson. Hard double, get it out of his hands. Now they're in rotation. Even if it's a mismatch, and it's Kay going at Drimmick, they'll deal with it. They make someone else beat us. Now, This is the comparison. This is how, obviously, Cotton 2 days later, 3 days later, had 27 against Melbourne. This is what Melbourne did in that same situation. Roll the tape. They were trying to show, not a great show there from Pledger, and Cotton lit them up. And it wasn't just Pledger either. You'll see here with on the next one with Boone. They try to slow him down, not good enough, and he'll just eat that sort of stuff up. Whereas Adelaide, they get it out of their hands. Now, the next couple of clips are just pause it here. I've got these to show. Obviously, Perth play Adelaide 2 more times. They play them again this week. What can they do differently to handle this? Because we know Adelaide are going to continue to do that sort of stuff. For me, one of the things is all these other guys, Damian Martin, Reece Vague, they've got to be aggressive. They've got to make plays. So roll the tape. This is a play they're running for Cotton, and they're going to look for him coming off this flare screen here. But Damian Martin, there's no help on this pick. He needs to here's a shooter over here. Turn the corner and try to make plays, because otherwise they're not getting anything out of just relying on Cotton. And then this next one this is a double team here with Tariko White, but this is why I think they need to play Clint Steindl a little bit more. Out of the double, find the shooter. He's 44% from 3. You lose a bit at the defensive end with him on the floor, but I think one of the answers for Perth coming in this week against Adelaide, play Stein a little bit more so that you can hurt him in rotations.
Funnily enough too, and ironically, when Brisbane started to double Casper Ware, the Dean Vickerman and the coaching staff spoke about the fact that other players had to stand up and be aggressive when the ball, because Brisbane had a very similar game plan defensively against Melbourne, to which Adelaide have to Bryce Cotton and the Perth Wildcats there. So standing up, being aggressive is one way to be able to curtail that homicide. You like it?
I think that was great defense by Sobey. The whole scheme of double it, get out his hands. Look, that's what you know what that's called? Play the percentages. It's highly likely you're in trouble and might take an L if that guy gets going. Get out his hands. Let anybody else beat you. Can they beat you for 4 quarters with everybody else getting buckets outside of Bryce? I've yet to see that game. In close games, we have yet to see that. I'm doing the same thing every time. That's what I do. Great plan.
But the ball's got to find Steindl. It's got to find Tariko White. It's got to find Jesse Wagstaff. Like, he hit that big 3 late against Melbourne. He needs to step up and knock down some shots.
I know it seems fairly obvious, but if there's a double team, traditionally someone has to be open in some way. And they've got some guys who, if they get some open looks over their careers, I know you don't like looking back, their homicide, but over their careers have hit some big nails in the coffin against the opposition.
It's all so important how well they adjust, because their season's on the line.
It is. It is. And you two boys don't think they'll make the 4. I think they'll just scrape in. At the start of the year, we spoke and it was announced that the NBL had changed their format, as in the voting, as into how we see the MVP, not the Coach of the Year or the Rookie of the Year, because everyone's eligible, but for major awards, 6 Man of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, and has now, in the last couple of days, been the announcement of the panel of experts. And these are the experts that nominate 20 for the MVP, up to 10 for the Defensive Player of the Year, the 6 Man of the Year as well, going forward. And here we go, Cam Tregarth, and of course Mark Worthington doing a wonderful job in Cairns, Roy Ward from Fairfax Media, Shane Heal, of course, at Fox Sports, Lockie Reid, your man over in the West. Liam Santa Maria from NBL Overtime gets a shout out, and while you and I, Homicide, we'll just sit in the cold and watch.
Hey, I'm all good with that. I know why they don't have me on there.
Casey Payne, Matt Logan, and of course the Doyen and Bogut knows. And if you look at it right now, so this is the experts, a panel of experts that will vote on how it all plays out towards the end of the year, and then the captains and the players and the coaches will all vote on their nominees. It's a fairly high esteem panel that's going to be deciding who the nominees are for the major awards.
Well, that graphic was a little hard to read, but one thing I think that's interesting, they've kind of sent out the criteria and sort of asking for people to start sending in their nominations and the like. One of the things I thought was worth mentioning was what was in there about most improved player. There's a lot of talk about every year about this, Alex Loughton last year, Lucas Walker, this year Dave Barlow, and it says on there that you're looking at player that has shown improvement, but it says in the something about in the context of their entire NBL career.
Okay.
So
it counts David Barlow out. Well, it does, because as great as he's been this year, he's had better NBL years.
Well, he was the second leading scorer on a championship team.
Exactly. So
he's a 4-time champion.
He's unbelievable this year. He's been great, and he's been a huge part as to why Melbourne haven't. they've missed Ty Wesley, but they haven't totally missed him because he's played so well. But he's not the most improved player, if in fact that is the category. There's up to 10 in the 6th man of the year, the most improved player and the defensive player of the year. That'll be the panel of experts, and 20 in the MVP. So we'll see all of that. So there you go. I think you tried to push David Barlow's case a couple of weeks ago for most improved player. So no luck there.
No luck there.
All right. Hey, I know this is just a very short question. What the hell happened to New Zealand this year? We had high hopes coming in. They're a fairly talented roster. They're stacked. Corey Webster back, and unfortunately, and they were probably going to struggle anyway before the weekend, but 2 losses over the weekend sees their finals aspirations done and dusted.
Look, for me, I think one, Sean Long could never stay out of foul trouble and adjust to the league. At the end of the day, you are a pro. You need to learn to adjust to the league that you're in. You can say that first 5 games. Okay, I'll give you 5 games, 6 games maybe. You can't say that game 20, the refs. And on top of that, coach Coach coming in, every 2 minutes, all you hear in the presser is referees. You got to adjust too. Because if you're not adjusting, your team is not going to adjust. You know what I mean? And that's what it's about. That's what's going on. That's with the big guy, right? Because he plays such a big role. That's why I talked about him first. But this guy, Corey Webster, he was injured pretty much, a lot of the season. But when he wasn't, we didn't get anything. We only got, this is what we saw from him. Phoenix Suns, he came out blazing. We know what type of talent he is. We know. But again, this is sport. I don't care about what you did 2-3 years ago, last year, the year before. What are you doing now? That's what you're being judged on. And because he hasn't been able to consistently come to the party and light it up the way we're used to seeing him light it up, they struggle.
Yeah.
What did you make of their body language?
Well, the vision was damning, wasn't it? Because their body language was horrendous.
And before you go any further, can we just point out, they led for most of this game. They were in front. So many of those clips with body language that is damning, as you said.
Mate, that's a game that had 16 lead changes. It went into overtime. You are right in that game.
Right in it.
You lose it and pretty much, you're still mathematically in the finals race. But I wrote today they're cooked. Yeah. They're not going to make it. And that's a massive, massive loss. As it was in Illawarra the 2 nights earlier. They don't defend. They haven't defended all year. They've had the worst defense right from the very get-go. And they've spent the second half of the season sitting in a zone from tip-off because they can't defend. Because their superstar can't defend without fouling.
But you know what, though? Still gets in foul trouble.
Well,
this is the concern.
Both games this weekend. So, and look, Kevin Braswell, he says, I'm a Georgetown guy. I was brought up on defense. I don't want to sit in a zone. I hate sitting in a zone. I do it so that Sean Long doesn't get in foul trouble. That's not a winning formula.
At the end of the day, it's definitely not. 2 weeks ago, I was up here on a panel and discussing best big man in the league. You have the talent, but at the end of the day, you can't stay on the court. You can't play defense without fouling. You can't be the best of anything if you can't play D without fouling, because you're not going to be on the court long enough to show that you are the best. That's just what it is at the end of the day. I thought that those 2 games they played, the one in Adelaide and the win, and the one in New Zealand when they beat Perth, I thought they were turning the corner. New year, new identity, new focus, let's go. That's why I was really hyped, because that game, he and Ty Wesley put together two games and it ended up in 2 W's. I thought I saw light at the end of the tunnel, but reality hit. I got slapped one way and then slapped another, and we're back at where we were, square one.
Yeah, and we came out of that week and we were talking about the fact that they were zoning. All right, cool, it got you a win over Adelaide, it got you a win over Perth. They don't shoot the 3 very well. They're the 2 of the worst 3-point shooting teams. We said you can't zone Sydney from the tip. Yeah. You can't zone Brisbane. They've come out, lost to those 2 teams, lost to Cairns.
It's over. It's over.
Last time on NBL.com.au, studs and duds at Liam Santa Maria, right? So he put Sean Long in it, and then it fired up the whole team. So looking forward to what happens this weekend, because I'm assuming, I haven't called this week's yet, but I'm assuming they're in there.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's like,
Hey, Liam Santa Maria doesn't miss a beat. It's been a big weekend of hoops. What did you see this weekend, mate?
Let's start with Jack McVeigh. I thought it he was a bundle of energy in Adelaide. I like this. I think this might be his first career block, and he gave him to Dikembe.
Yeah. That's cold. Now, is that the one where the referee told him to not incite the crowd?
No, that was a different.
That was a different one, was it?
Real hair, or is that a wig? Serious question.
Definitely a wig.
This guy was into it, and then he was like, "Stick it up, stick it up."
Yeah, free alcohol. I love
What
it.
happened here? I can't quite remember. Oh, travel. Look at this. DJ Newber. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. How many? Not a travel. Kick it. 1, 2, 3. Let's count the kick it travels on this one. It's a good call by the official. 1, 2, 3. Ding, 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 ding. And this guy.
He's not happy.
Why bring your teddy bear to the game if you're just going to smash him?
Yeah, well, he's a Kings fan. They're not going to play defense and bring the energy. Someone's going to cop it.
True.
There you go.
Yeah, that's a wrap.
There you go. Yeah, Liam Santa Maria is always watching. All right, before we do get out of here, yes or no time, and I'm going to start with you, Liam, and already kind of touched on it. But Corey Webster, has he been the most disappointing player in the league this year?
He has. Yep.
If the Kings finish third, and we all unanimously agreed a couple of weeks ago that Bogut was leading the MVP race, I still believe it. But if they finish third, is he still going to win the MVP?
Not if Melbourne finishes first.
Does that mean you think Casper Webb will win the MVP?
If Melbourne finishes first,
Yeah.
and he meaning Sydney finishes third,
Yeah.
Casper should get it. But if he finished first or second,
Yeah.
it's a lot. Sydney, meaning Bogut,
What if Brisbane finish
Yeah.
first?
he can get it.
I think if Brisbane finish first, hate to jump in, but they will be unanimous Lamar Patterson MVP.
I don't believe that. He hasn't played enough games, I don't
He
think.
will play 20 games.
First in the league in rebounds, first in the league
don't-
in blocks.
Yeah, but you're basing your argument on them dropping down the ladder.
Top 10 in assists.
Yeah.
Where were they last? Man, this
No.
is a tough question.
I agree.
It is a tough question.
Man, because they were at the bottom of the ladder. Sydney,
I agree.
I mean,
Brisbane
Brisbane was in the bottom.
Yeah.
And you
That's
asked
a
me
good
yes
one.
and no last week.
Yeah.
Wow.
Should he be talked about more and
Yeah.
considered? And you said yes, he is.
Let's reconsider that this time next week.
I think the
after
ladder's
that.
a big
Definitely.
thing.
This time-
I think
this time
whoever
next
finishes
week.
on top.
It's so tight.
It's too tight.
The league, finals,
Yeah.
championship,
Tightest it's ever
MVP.
been.
Yeah.
It's so tight.
I think Sydney finish on top, it's Bogut. If it's Melbourne, it's Ware. If it's Perth, it's Cotton. If it's Adelaide, it's probably
just-
Sobey. And if it's Patterson, if the
Mate.
Bullets finish on top.
Oh, my
You're stretching it there,
goodness.
but
Yeah.
I'm just
If
glad that
Adelaide
in that,
get-
as
I'm
part
just-
of that panel of experts,
If Adelaide
we
get
need
to
to
the
provide
top.
20 names,
Yeah.
and then the players and the coaches and the
man.
captains sort it out from
Now,
there.
we're going to talk more Coach of the Year next year, but Illawarra have been, they're still knocking around. Should Rob Beveridge be in consideration for Coach of the Year?
Yes.
Should Brian Bowen be playing more minutes for the Kings?
Yes.
Deng Adel, welcome to the NBA. Nice stroke on him, 2 hitting the 3. Percentage-wise, is he above 80 to play for the Boomers at the World Cup?
Is this a yes or no?
Yeah,
Question?
yes or no? Is he above 80% to play for
right.
the Boomers or below?
I think he's above.
He's
yes.
not a name we've spoken a great deal
Yeah.
about when talking about it.
Yeah.
Is Tariko White's wife more entertaining on Instagram than Sean Long?
Ooh.
Let me tell you what I do like. She ain't holding her tongue.
No, she's not.
She's definitely going to say what she feels. So I respect that. It is entertaining because of the fact that no one's wife does it in Australia. So it gets more eyes looking at it. But shout out to Tariko White's wife.
Is she more
Tariko
entertaining?
White's wife.
Than Sean Long?
Nah, Sean Long's entertaining though.
Okay. In the next 5 years, will we see an NBL team from Tasmania?
No.
I don't want to see you go nuts here, but should the NBL change the rules or at least relax them, allowing an Australian player to be released if he's not performing?
Yeah.
That does exist.
Does
Nah,
it?
it doesn't. They don't exercise it.
Deng Akuth just got
Nah, he's still on the
Released.
team.
Still
They're just
getting
like,
paid?
look, we just got to make some space for my man to come through and play. Back up Bogut. You still with us. We just got to say that. You're not going to get any burn.
The thing what Joey was talking about was that you have to pay them out.
Yeah,
to
pay 'em out.
their contract.
Yeah.
Whereas with imports up to a certain point,
You don't have
to do that.
Okay. Should the NBL bring in defensive 3 second rule like in the NBA?
No.
You nearly stuffed this question at the start of the show, but
Look.
the New York Knicks tanking for Zion Williamson.
Let me tell you what's actually happening, all
Please.
right? Not only are they tanking for him, I bought this jersey because next year, I'm a fan of the Knicks.
You know where you should have probably bought
Guess who-
Zion. Why didn't you buy a Zion Williamson Duke jersey?
No. They don't have that yet. I had to get a throwback Spreewell. I had to channel my Spreewell. You saw my energy was up today. Shout out to Basketball Jersey World for blessing me with
What,
this
letting
joint.
you buy it?
Yeah, give me a little discount, you know what I mean? But look, ain't nobody else giving me no discount, so I got to shout out who giving me a discount. Shout out to Basketball Jersey. And a matter of fact, I'm buying a couple because they got a lot of heat in that store. They got a lot of heat.
Just so we're aware, these are the shop that you do ads for?
No.
Oh, it's not?
It ain't.
Okay.
But check this. But more important, next summer.
Are they tanking for Zion?
100%.
Okay,
and then
cool.
guess what's going to happen?
They're not going to get him.
KD,
Number 1 pick.
Watch. They're going to be number 1.
Yeah, maybe not.
They're going to be all them balls. Once them balls go up, they're going to have a good chance.
Yeah, okay.
And in the off season, KD's coming, Kyrie coming. New York is going to be popping, and we already got Porzingis. I'm down with him. Down with the Knicks. Let's go, baby. Keep tanking. We need Zion.
Hashtag do better.
Hashtag do better.
Hashtag NBL 19. We're done and dusted. Where will I see you? Well, tomorrow night, open air game.
Huge.
You both there?
Definitely there. We leading the pack, baby. We got this tomorrow.
Who else you got?
Big
Where
game.
else are you this weekend?
Whew.
You back in
Adelaide.
Perth? You're not back in Perth?
No.
at all?
I'm going to Perth Friday.
Okay.
Then I come back, and then Monday we go to Adelaide.
Adelaide and Melbourne will be a big one yourself?
No, I think just tomorrow night.
You think?
Massive game.
Big game.
Under the
Huge.
open roof.
Can't wait
Under the
for
open
it.
roof, baby.
Weather's going to be great, so the open roof will be there, and of course a great collaboration with the Australian Open. On that note, NBL Overtime's done and dusted. I can't believe you wear jerseys. You're a grown man.
Yo, listen.
Spreewell's been retired 20 years.
I had to come with that energy.
See you next week.
Shout out to Spreewell, man.